Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That is public access TV. My name is Dirk Keller, and we are back. We are going to be back every week from here on out. That includes Bob Boyd. That includes Bud Supel over there. It also includes Earle Murphy because it's his show, and he's been doing it for over 25 years, along with son Joe Murphy behind the camera, behind the lights, making everything happen. Today we've got a very special guest, Pat Harty from allhawkeyes.com. You know Pat from his years with the Press Citizen. How many years? 25?
23.
23 years at the Press Citizen.
Wow.
And now with allhawkeyes.com, along with Rob Howe, both of whom used to work at the Press Citizen. And I will say that they are the only Hawkeye sports journalists who live and work in Iowa City. The Press Citizen doesn't have anybody in Iowa City that covers the Hawks. There's nobody else in Iowa City that writes about the Hawks. And I'm going to stroke you a little bit and just say, hey, you really do a good job of being open-minded and speaking your mind at the same time when it comes to Hawkeye sports coverage.
Very good.
Both of you and Rob.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I'm going to say, allhawkeyes.com, it's not just a forum for discussion. These guys get out and they interview the coaches, they interview the players, they interview the recruits, and they've got video as well as audio on their website. $40 for a year to log in and check out what they do.
$5 a month.
Yeah.
And there's a 7-day free trial run. And basically what we do is we try to combine newspaper type coverage with recruiting website type coverage. We do a little bit of both. We write features, columns, breaking news, but we also just, Rob mostly, cover recruiting on a daily basis. I mean, he just did an update on Charlie Moore, the point guard who I was recruiting just yesterday. So yeah, we do recruiting.
Charlie Moore is from Chicago?
Yeah, and he just set 4 visits and not one of them to Iowa. I don't know if you read into that and just assume Iowa will be the 5th, but he just set 4, 1 to Cal, 1 to Pitt, Memphis, and Illinois.
And this is a high demand
point
guard.
Not a high demand. He's no Kentucky, none of those type offers. But no, he's definitely got some nice offers. And Iowa's been in the mix, but they do not have a visit set up as of right now.
Not yet.
That's too bad.
Well, it might still come. He's got one official visit left to take, and that I think there's still a real good chance it'll be Iowa.
With all those things going on in Illinois, you got to wonder why, don't you?
Illinois is in trouble.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them really involve the men's basketball program.
Yes.
Which one involves?
I just read Lauren Tate today, and his headline was "More Trouble for Gross."
Okay, I did.
Illinois.
What did it say?
Because I know over in Illinois,
I know the women's coach has had some major problems.
Yeah, and football.
They had a kid arrested in France while they were over in Illinois just recently.
Okay, stuff. Okay, I thought you meant.
Yeah, I mean,
one of their more.
They sent him home.
Yeah, one of their better players.
Yeah.
Jalen, is there a?
I don't remember the
Oh,
name.
can you look up
Jalen Tate?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it.
I thought maybe. I mean, the women's situation seems a little more extreme.
Oh, boy.
than that.
It is, and the football situation's big problem.
He's on his last legs.
Well, yeah, he's got to
Over
win
there.
probably. He's got to win probably 8 or 9 games this year.
Tim Beckman.
And Illinois gets to come to Iowa City for the first time since 07.
Wow,
Tim
that
Beckman
long?
went to Southeast Junior High.
Yeah.
Went there for about 3 or 4 years. I think he was there in the mid '70s. Tim Beckman.
Yep.
When his dad was, I believe, an assistant at Iowa.
Is that right?
Yeah, we actually did a story on him a couple years ago.
I remember that.
I'll be darned.
So yeah, he's got some roots here, but that's a game that Iowa can't. They have to win that game. That's one of those games they just have to win.
Yeah,
And it's homecoming.
exactly.
That makes
It's
it.
homecoming.
I remember.
I can't wait.
I remember at a press conference somebody
You're going to
asked.
be fired up, aren't you?
Somebody asked Hayden Fry one time about what kind of influence Hayden or homecoming had on the games. It was pretty funny. He had to be there.
What did he say?
He didn't know what to say. He basically wanted to say that if it takes homecoming to fire up the boys, we got issues. And it was kind of funny. That was a long time ago.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, Kurt said it just a couple of years ago. He said, I haven't looked at the schedule. When is that?
Yeah, see, they don't. It's not like they're Firestone people.
well, it's for the fans. It's for the alumni.
Yeah, it is.
And I, as a townie, it's a big deal, isn't it, Earle?
Yes, I
We
Yeah.
Well, it
love to
definitely
see
is.
everybody come back and take it all
I don't think
in.
it takes the football team to another level of motivation, though, is what I'm saying.
But I get motivated when Illinois is our homecoming foe. First time in 8 years in Iowa City. That's
Do you
great.
go to the parade?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a big
But the
deal.
good news about that is because of the division set up now in the Big Ten, we'll be playing Illinois every year.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And it seems
Way
like
to
more
do it.
times than not, they're bad or average. Illinois football.
When haven't they been
That's a
bad?
good thing.
Illinois football's never really been able to sustain, but have they
Yeah.
not played since '08?
They
No,
played
no,
last year.
That was the first since '08,
And-
which they
right.
won. Remember that? Sean Green's last loss. that
Was
year.
it 08?
Oh, wait, yeah.
It was that was at Champaign.
Yep, and then Iowa ran the table after that, I believe. I think they filled a 4-4 that day. I think, and then they ran the table, what, 9-4?
You got a good memory.
Well, I remember that press conference because the players were upset and we asked some dumb questions and I remember, what's his name, Rob Bruggeman, lineman. He looked at one of the reporters and said, "Is that a rhetorical question?" I'll just never forget that. They were a little chippy that day. I mean, the season was falling, they were coming off the 07-06 stretch.
You were there.
Yeah, we were in Champaign. We were 07-06 were not good years.
No.
They went 2-6 in the Big Ten in '06. That team fell apart.
Yeah.
Drew Tate. I mean, everything just got ugly. '07 was the Jake Christensen debacle,
Yeah.
6-6. And then with in '08 when they were 4-4, you're like, what is going on? Then Sean Green continued. They beat Penn State to go 5-4, and they ran the table after
Yeah.
that. And then that led to '09.
That Penn State game's been on the Big Ten
Yeah.
network lately. I
Yep.
like watching that. Paul knows all the guys.
That field goal goes in every time you watch it.
Yeah, it's
does.
great.
We could use Sean Green this year, couldn't we?
Well, I think we got some good running backs. We're going to talk
I hope
about that.
so.
Pat was at the open practice, Kids Day practice last Saturday. None of us went, right?
No.
No.
It
It was
hot.
really hot.
It was really hot.
So-
Probably 50 degrees warmer than 40 degrees warmer than right now. Would you say?
Today it's
High 50s,
football
low 60s.
weather. Right now it's like 62 degrees.
It was
That day it had to be in the 90s.
93, 94, and I think the heat index was like 108.
Oh.
It was hot.
Yeah, we got football weather out there now, so it feels right.
Just a
We're
day or two, though.
yeah, is that right?
It's supposed to be 85 by Friday.
Bring it on. Bring it on. So last Saturday, apparently, according to all accounts, the defense was way ahead of the offense.
Which it usually is in scrimmages like that. It seems like for me.
Yeah.
I can't remember many times when the offenses just lit it up. Because the good players rarely play, the good running backs rarely run, and the defenses know what they're doing.
Well, and then it's almost like flag football, too.
Well, not until the very end it was. I mean, until the very, very end of practice, they were going 3 quarters. I mean, it's hard to, like people were asking Sean Daniels about running, and I mean, he was going up against linebackers who were wrapping, they weren't tackling. That's a lot different.
Yeah.
He only
Yeah.
carried the ball twice, I think, in the real scrimmage. That was just at the end.
During the real scrimmage, who was the Hawkeye quarterback?
Bethard,
Bethard
they
was.
used all of them. All 4 of them got to play
Yeah.
at times. Yeah, they used all 4.
So the big concern going into the fall camp is the backup quarterback, Tyler Wiegers. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes, Tyler
Wiegers.
Wiegers, yeah, Wiegers.
He's a redshirt freshman
From Lake Orion, Michigan, I believe.
Lake Orion,
That's
Michigan.
right outside of Detroit, I believe.
Now, I read on allhawkeyes.com that he looked much better
Well,
than
that's
he did
who
in
I.
spring.
That's part of what I wrote about. The 3 things that stood out to me were Wiggers, how he played, the defense, how it dominated with Drew Ott, and the fact that Kirk was wearing a long sleeve
black
t-shirt
shirt.
in 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
He does it all the time. You never see him wear a short sleeve. He never does. But Wiggers looked a lot better. He looks like there is life after CJ. He had made the most progress from the spring to now as any player, but it's easier to tell when a quarterback does well. It's harder for me to tell if a left guard's made a ton of progress from spring to summer, but Wiggers looks a lot better. Now, the 2 freshmen, they struggled. They both struggled, which it's early. They want to redshirt those guys. One of them's going to have to be the 3rd teamer, but their wish will be to have one of them be the 3rd teamer and not use them at all.
Who do you
Yes.
think that will be?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Boyle was running 3rd in the rotation, but we were told that doesn't mean anything.
Did he throw the ball?
They both threw it about 5 or 6 times. Neither one really threw it very deep, and Drew threw 2 interceptions, 1 pick 6. Boyle threw 1 interception. So yeah, neither one of them really had much to go on, but it's early. I mean, it's early. I think, like I said, neither one of them are ready yet. They both need a redshirt, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought
Hopefully they can.
Well, yeah, that's really
We'll see.
That's important.
Usually
Yeah.
you got 2 good quarterbacks.
We got
I mean,
one.
and
We don't know
go-
about the
Well,
other.
what he says. I think
Well, that's just one.
No, but I think there's a big difference from a freshman to a
Oh, without question. I think a guy with a year under his belt. Now, the question will be how quickly Drew and Boyle progress over the next month. The light may just go on with one of these guys, and they may move ahead of Wiggers. You don't know. And Beathard, too, I mean, to a certain extent, I think he's unproven to a certain extent. He started one game. We know to an extent what to expect, but for the most part, he, to me, is still an unproven quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's got a lot of the intangibles, strong arm. Players seem to love him. There's been a lot of that talk too about this team's closer, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just don't want them to throw last year's team under the bus, which I think some of that's happening a little bit.
Yeah, it seems some of the quotes I've heard.
And last year at this time, Jake was the stoic medical student leader that the team rallied behind. Everybody loved him. They were coming off an 8-win season, and then things didn't go right during the season. Now it's almost like, well, we got to detach ourselves from that.
So, what are you hearing about Jake at Michigan? Is he going to start?
I have not heard that. It's he and Shane Morris. I mean, Shane Morris, I think ideally is who they would love to start. I think they'd love for him to take the job and run it. He's a 4-star quarterback from Michigan.
Yeah.
But Jake will get a look. I don't think Morris is ever going to be good enough to where they're going to be like, just leave him in. I think Rudock will get a look. Definitely gets a look. Definitely will get a chance to be the quarterback.
Are you getting any feeling from the current players on the Hawkeye team about Jake Rudock and how they feel about him going to Michigan like that?
Well, we talked to Drew Ott had said some things, wished he would have
Yeah.
had more fun. We asked Drew about that in Chicago. What Drew meant was not calling him a coward or a chicken, just wishes Jake would have wanted to stay here more. That was kind of Drew's response when we asked him about that. And I thought he was being sincere. I think, and like Austin Blythe, I mean, Jake was at his wedding. I mean, Jake was very well liked by a lot of the guys on
Yeah.
the team, but so was CJ. And I think it did kind of drive a wedge. I think it was a distraction. So I'll give him that when they say that last year's team maybe wasn't as close because of that dynamic. That dynamic's gone. But I don't know. It's just been a strange off season because rarely do Iowa players say anything bad about the previous team or suggest that
Right.
anything was not right. This year they've been doing that. And the other thing I found surprising at media day was just how quickly Greg Davis was. Yeah, LaShawn Daniels is our running back. I mean, Ken Zeri LaShawn is our guy. If he stays healthy, we're going to give him 25 carries a game. And he's unproven. He hasn't really. But they've seen him in practice, so we'll have to see.
What year is he?
He's a junior.
And what are his numbers? What size?
LaShawn, he's about 6 foot, 220, 225. Big, kind of a Sean Green type
Yeah.
build. We just haven't seen him sustain anything yet.
Because he keeps getting hurt.
Well, yeah, he got hurt last year, and then they gave up on him 2 years ago. They kind of gave up on him last year.
I thought so, too.
Kirk admitted that. He said, we gave up on him too early last year. So, we'll see.
Well, I've read his interviews, and he seems fired up and ready to go, and has put all that behind him.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Well,
got
it
the
better be,
opportunity.
this is his opportunity.
Yeah, this is his opportunity.
He's a junior.
He's got a junior. This is his chance to run with it, right?
Yeah.
This could be a life-changing experience for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where he got hurt, how bad was it?
Oh, he dinged up, nothing. They didn't tell us exactly what it was, but
They never
he was
do.
back. He was back practicing.
No, but I
Yeah.
mean
Last year was a
Why
foot,
didn't he come
foot,
back?
leg, foot or leg, something.
Well, it was a
leg.
foot.
I think it was a foot injury. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Okay.
foot injury that he suffered in practice. I think.
So it was really a hurt then.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he missed like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
But they weren't using him before the injury. He only carried the ball
Not
once or
much.
twice. Yeah, so.
Okay.
I never could figure out why they used him his true freshman year. I mean, he was used
Yeah.
very little.
He was used, and he didn't play on special teams either, so
Yeah,
I wondered about that.
So do you think the running back group that we have is an area of strength? Is it a question mark? Is it a wild card?
I would say it's not strength. I don't think it's necessarily a question mark. I think right now it's serviceable with a chance to be better.
But
Who
don't
else?
you think it's better than running a fullback, a tailback? the
Yes,
last
but
2
my only
years?
concern though with that is those same guys, when healthy, had chances to beat Mark Weissman out and nobody ever did.
Yeah.
Did Mark Weissman land with any NFL team?
It was the Bears, I thought he
No,
was.
he's with Cincinnati.
Oh, it's Cincinnati? I thought.
Oh, okay.
For some reason I thought it was the Bears.
My
But-
brother's daughter goes with him.
Oh,
The only
okay.
reason I
She should know then.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we'll see. He's got, he can block. It's not his fault that he was forced to play out of position and nobody could stay healthy and beat him out.
Nope.
That would be my concern about the running backs, is the fact that they had 3 years to do something and nobody could get ahead of him.
Who else will we see at running back?
Well, you've got the three. I think Derek Mitchell will be kind of the X factor. Former wide receiver.
Wide
He's-
receiver.
He's put on a lot of weight. He's probably 215, 220. Looks like,
Wow.
obviously he can catch a little bit. He came here as a receiver.
Yeah.
Was a quarterback in high school, so that shows you he's got a lot of different skill sets.
And what year is he?
He is a redshirt sophomore. He will definitely be in the mix. I think right now he's third, and then you got Akram Wadley fourth, Marcel Jolly out of Maryland fifth, and then C.J. Hilliard is sixth.
What is the story with C.J.
He's just not
Hilliard?
invited. It doesn't look like he's invited to camp. They can only have 105. And I think sometimes they're like, well, he's sixth at running back. We can't afford
But
it.
he was on the team.
Well, he's on the team. You're still on the team. There's a lot of guys that don't get invited to summer camp. They should come when school starts.
What year is he going to be?
He's going to be a redshirt freshman, I believe. Yeah, he's 1 year ahead of his brother.
Okay.
But yeah, no, there's other scholarship players that sometimes don't get. It's not a good sign when you're not getting invited to the summer camp.
So you think we might see some surprises from this Mitchell then, huh?
Possibly. I think he's got a chance because Kirk seems to like him. And if
Okay.
he can show that he can pick up the blitz and block and catch, he'll play.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about areas of strength. Defensive back.
Yes, I
Clearly.
think it's fair to say they had good stats last year, got plenty of experience back, and I think that's something they can build around.
King,
He's all Big Ten caliber cornerback,
and he's just a junior.
just a junior. Mabin and Jordan Lomax are both solid. They're not
Yeah.
stars, but they're solid. So yeah, I think my biggest strength on Iowa, number one would be D-backs. Number two would probably be the defensive line,
Right.
although I've got concerns inside. Those would be my two biggest strengths, and then after that, I don't know.
Who are going to be the standouts on the defensive line?
Well, I think obviously Drew Ott and Nate Meyer, even if they just to continue what they're doing, they're going to be standouts. To me, the key is Jaleel Johnson. I think if he can have, at worst, an honorable mention All Big Ten type season, I think that's going to be big.
Is he a sophomore?
He's a junior, and I believe he's probably one of the more heavily recruited guys on the team.
Right.
Lots of offers coming out of Chicago.
Big kid.
Big kid.
How big is he,
Probably
guys?
6'4", 300. Big kid.
Okay.
Big kid, plays nasty, and I mean that as a compliment. He's a big kid. If he lives up to his rep,
We need nasty.
yeah, and I think he's a big key to the season. To me, he's one of the big keys.
Okay, question mark, linebackers.
They can't be any worse than last year is the way I
Yeah.
look at it. I mean, last year they were overwhelmed. This year they're bigger, stronger, wiser. You just hope they're a little better to where they can, if they're serviceable and Drew Ott continues to ascend to All-American status, I think they got a chance to have a decent front seven. And let's face it, the schedule is not that hard.
Okay, I read somewhere recently that ESPN rated the Iowa Hawkeye football schedule the easiest in the country.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no, that's,
That's what I
No
read.
kidding.
That's what I read. Yep.
No, it's easy. I mean, on paper, it's easy. That didn't do much last year.
It sure didn't.
So I think you can't read too much into that, but, I mean, they're not gonna be facing a lot of dynamic offenses this year. They're not facing Ohio State, so I think this defense has a chance to grow. And the biggest problem with the defense is our last impression of it was the fourth quarter against Nebraska, and then the Tax Slayer Bowl. And
What about the Wisconsin game?
Well, that was the Melvin Gordon factor, I understand. But the Nebraska collapse and the
Yeah.
Tax Slayer Bowl were not good for the defense.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, that Tax Slayer Bowl, the defense was maybe worse than the offense.
One of the most humiliating losses in years.
That's right.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It was, well, let me back up. Minnesota, that was worse.
yeah.
But
Well,
this
we've
was
had
on a
a few.
national level.
Yeah.
You know, they were about the same. Minnesota, that game was over in the first quarter. I don't know. Tennessee game, maybe, it was
I don't
first
know.
quarter.
It was
Yeah.
first quarter, yeah.
First quarter.
They didn't fire a shot. And what was weird about the Tennessee game was D-backs were just missing one tackle after another. But that running back was getting right through the linebackers and coming right at him. It was just not a good day.
and it was a good Tennessee.
It was.
Very fast. The thing that stood out to me, besides Akram Wadley's bonehead kick return,
No, that was Jonathan Parker.
oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Akram. The thing that stood out to me was the difference in speed, team speed. It was so evident on both sides of the ball, and it was evident from the start of the game till the very end.
And that's usually the case when Iowa plays teams like that, but in the past they've figured out other ways to win. Special teams, tough defense. They got to get better on special teams. Like Kirk said, they have to win all those 50-50 battles. They have to be better on special teams. If they're not, they're going to have issues.
It sounds like they've made a commitment to special teams.
That's how we held
That's what we
on
thought
to
last year.
Wisconsin
Yeah.
last year.
We
We forget that. We should have won the
Oh,
Wisconsin
yeah,
game.
yeah.
I mean, he said the best players are going to play special teams.
Yeah.
They're not going to hold people back. They can't afford to wait anymore. They can't afford to I mean, it's now for them. They know that. They have to win now.
now.
Yeah.
Who's going to be returning kicks?
Well, Desmond King says he is.
That's what I've
And
read.
Tavon Smith wants.
Our star defensive back.
But we've had
Now
this.
that scares me a
We've
little.
gone through this before, though, where a player says that, then it seems like when the season starts, they get some security blanket back there.
Yeah.
Kick-wise, I don't know. Punt-wise, though, it'll be interesting to see if, I can't imagine King's gonna do both. I just don't, I don't see that happening.
Keen,
Desmond King.
he's the kid from Solon, right?
No, Desmond King.
Oh, Desmond King. I'm sorry. Kicking.
Oh, Marshall Kane.
Marshall Kane.
He's from
Yeah,
Solon.
yeah.
Desmond's from Detroit. A little different than Solon, but not much.
Just a bit.
But I think Desmond is definitely one of their stars in the making. I just don't know if you want him doing both. You hope they have enough talent on the team
right.
where he doesn't have to do all that stuff.
But we know already, don't we?
I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if how much they tip their hat as far as returning stuff. I mean, I know they've got some freshmen back there, and I just don't think you want Desmond King and Tavon Smith as your two kick returners.
I agree.
It's not ideal, but they would be exciting, I bet.
Oh, without question, yeah, no, they would.
I've got special teams as a wild card. It could be
It was a weakness
it
last
could be
year.
a strength this year. I can't believe it will be as bad as last year.
It's hard to say it could be a strength though when you have no clue what's going to happen at punter.
That's
Especially when the kicker looks like he's going to have to maybe be the punter. Right now, they said that Kane is right there with Dylan Kidd. They really need Dylan Kidd to step up and all of a sudden just take that job and run with it. That would be huge if they didn't have to worry
I
about
hope it happens.
He's got one more year to do it.
Areas of concern. We talked about linebackers. Let's talk about the offensive line. That seems to be
Tackle.
the biggest
I'm
area.
not too concerned about inside. I think at guard and center, they're fine. Walsh is back at practice. It's the two tackle positions. I mean, they're,
What happened to Walsh last year? Wasn't it he that was out and they wouldn't talk about
no, that was Welsh.
Welsh?
Welsh is back too.
What-
Welsh played, he
what
just,
happened to
after
him?
the season, he just kind of left football for a while. I think he needed some personal space. And he didn't really say why, but now he's back, looked pretty good the other day. Interior-wise, they're fine. Boone Myers and Ike Betker, the two new starting tackles, that's a concern. They're gonna have growing pains, they are. I mean, Drew Ott worked Boone Myers. I mean, it was like he was a sieve the other day. But Drew Ott's one of the best defensive ends in the Big Ten, so you hope that this is a learning experience that Boone Myers will use against other players who aren't as good as Drew Ott. But
And
tackles are a
Becker
concern.
and Myers came here highly regarded.
No,
No?
one walked on and the other.
Which one walked on?
Myers walked on and Boone Myers and Becker had
Becker?
like one or two offers. No,
Wow.
they fit that Iowa rags to riches mold.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of players that fit that mold and thrive. So I wouldn't. They both looked the part. I just wrote something on Becker. Becker up against any Big Ten lineman, he just looks. He
Good.
carries 300 pounds easily because
Didn't they shift him from tight end last year?
Yes. He's just
He
like
was quarterback in high
He
school.
was quarterback for a while in high school. Now
Yeah.
played
Becker
tight end.
was?
Yeah, in Northern Iowa.
He's just like out of the Brandon
Yeah,
Sheriff,
that-
Eric Steinbach,
He's from Cedar Falls.
Robert Gallery, Bruce Nelson.
Yeah.
Skill players in high school who came here and become linemen.
Speaking of Cedar Falls, don't we have a running back from Cedar Falls?
They used to have Barkley Hill, not anymore.
I was thinking there was somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Andrew Stone, a wide receiver.
Yes, I think somebody from Cedar Falls.
I thought we had somebody.
I'm not aware of a running back anymore.
You've got a good football program, high school program,
Yeah,
Cedar
yeah.
Falls.
Yes, they do.
Okay, well,
They got a good, the college has a good
Yeah.
punter too.
who,
Good kicker.
by the way, we're visiting with,
Kicker.
who does?
Well, Adam
Why
from
did he
Regina
go
went up to
Adams?
Northern
You
Iowa.
know, I was
Play
talking to
skill.
Paul about this yesterday.
Why did that happen?
He won the Shrine game for
Yeah.
him. I mean, he's done
He never
everything.
missed an extra point in high school. He made some unbelievable amount of field goals, percentage-wise, and he doesn't even get a sniff. And all the problems we're having at Iowa with kicking, and
I don't get that.
I don't.
Well, I
didn't
go
even-
back when we had good kickers, they were all from Iowa City.
What?
They could have redshirted this kid this year and let him, kick, and he gets recruited by Northern Iowa.
Yeah, it just I'd given
I don't
anything
know.
to see Adam here.
We
Yes.
could go talk to him. You know, they didn't look at
Didn't
him.
even talk to him. No.
Now, maybe it was because that kick he missed at the Solon game.
Well, they do have a sophomore kicker on scholarship too. Maybe that probably has something to do with it. And two punters on scholarship.
I bet he's not as good as Michael Adam.
I think it's Jacob
Michael?
Adam.
Jacob Adam.
Jacob, yeah.
I mean, he was really good in high school, McGillis was.
Was he?
I mean, he's one of the best kickers in Texas, that's why they recruited him. I mean, they don't
Okay.
just hand these scholarships out. I mean,
No.
I know where you guys are coming from as Regina boosters.
We're
You're
yeah,
a little
we're
biased, but in fairness to the coaches, I'm sure they looked at Jacob
Well,
Adam.
I'd get him started then this year, I wouldn't redshirt him.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they looked
If
at
he's
Jacob
that good, then
Yeah,
we gotta
that's
have him
right.
out there. And I wanna see how good he is. I don't wanna see him miss an extra point, because I don't think Jacob Adam would.
You'll be reading about him at Northern Iowa for the next
I'm
4
afraid
years,
we
trust
will.
me. Yeah.
Let's talk about, by the way, we are visiting with Pat Harty from allhawkeyes.com. Pat, let's talk about playmakers. Who are going to be the Hawkeye playmakers on this year's football squad?
You hope C.J. Beathard, obviously.
Yeah.
Tavon Smith.
What's C.J. Beathard bring to the table that we may not be aware of or that we've forgotten?
I think he's got a little stronger arm than Jake Rudock, but I also think he's got more willingness to throw downfield and take chances. That can be good and bad.
Remember the Illinois game last
Yeah.
year? He came in for an injured Jake Rudock, and I don't know if it was the first play from scrimmage, but he threw an NFL type
Yeah, I mean, he will do
downfield
that.
touchdown, or I don't remember if it was a touchdown, but I remember it was deep, accurate, in a crowd, boom.
And he can run a little bit. He's by no means a dual threat quarterback, but he can scramble and get some yards, and he's pretty.
You wouldn't
typical-
call him dual threat?
Oh no, by no way. He's not a dual threat quarterback. When I think of a dual threat quarterback, I think of Seneca Wallace. I think
Oh,
of Brad
yeah.
Banks a little bit. I don't think of C.J. Beathard. I mean,
Okay.
when Jake Rudock was healthy, his first 5 games, remember the game he won up at Minnesota in 2013? He won that game with his legs. Jake Rudock was a decent running quarterback before he got hurt. He was never the same after he got hurt. C.J.'s a decent running quarterback who can buy time for himself, but he's not a dual threat.
Okay.
No, he's not a dual threat. He's not Devin Gardner. He's not Braxton Miller. He's nothing like that.
He's not Drew Tate.
Drew Tate really wasn't a dual threat. Drew Tate was a quarterback who knew how to buy time in the pocket with his elusiveness. Drew Tate didn't run for many yards.
He's no Brad Banks.
Brad Banks was a dual threat. Brad Banks' run against Purdue for that first down to midfield, that was a dual threat quarterback.
Is he the only dual threat quarterback we've ever had? True.
Well, Eric McCollum was going to be a dual.
Oh.
Jason Manson, I didn't think was a dual threat quarterback. Tate, I didn't believe was a dual threat quarterback. I mean, for the most part,
Pete Gales.
well, Pete Gales definitely was a dual threat quarterback.
That's going back away.
Yeah.
Gordy
sure.
Bohannon ran the ball a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but no, there haven't been many. Now Ryan Boyle kind of fits that mold, and Drew I wouldn't call Drew a dual threat, but Drew can run.
Oh, he's fast. Drew
Yeah,
Cook.
he's got pretty good
Drew
speed.
can run. I mean,
He's
Now, who's gonna
explosive.
catch these balls? My
Well,
biggest problem of all the games I watched last year
Yeah.
was Minnesota and Tennessee dropped more balls in that game,
Yeah.
those 2 games that I've ever seen.
well, Tavon Smith, Jacob Hillier, and Matt Vandenberg are their top 3 receivers. After that, it's a crapshoot as to who's going to be in there.
Tavon's a playmaker.
He
Tavon
had about
Smith.
600 yards receiving last year, 45 catches. Yeah,
He's going to have to be the guy
I
this
think
year.
he needs to get that up to 800-900 and get 50 passes, 6 touchdowns. Yeah, he needs to be an all Big Ten receiver.
Who else besides
Well,
Tavon?
Hilliard and Vandenberg, and then after that, you've got
Jacob Hillier?
Jacob Hillier's been okay.
What year is he?
He's a senior.
Senior.
I mean, Vandenberg's a junior. After that, though, you've got Andre Harris. You've got the 3 freshmen: Germanic Smith, Adrian Falconer, and Emmanuel Agwo. They need at least one of those guys to step up and be a
Well,
reliable.
rate him, who do you think's gonna be?
I've only seen him practice once. I don't know.
No, but the one guy's a senior.
Well, yeah, I would. Jacob, those 3 that I
Is he
mentioned.
doing a lot better now?
I don't know. I haven't seen him. We only seen one practice, and he didn't do anything that stood out.
Right,
But
okay.
I don't want to judge him just on one practice.
No,
We'll
especially
see.
that.
And he is what he is. I don't anticipate Jacob Hillier becoming an All Big Ten receiver in his senior, but you never know.
He had some moments.
He had some moments. I mean, he made some nice catches. He needs to be better than serviceable. Someone like that needs to step up and have a big
And
year.
Vandenberg, he's had some
He's
big,
got good hands.
big plays.
He's had, but yeah, he's been there and done it too. So
He
they have
gets
3.
hurt, though.
And he played as a true freshman.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have 3 proven receivers, so there's something to build with. Same at tight end. They've got some tight ends with experience. They can be good. I don't know if anyone's a superstar. I mean, Doozy's got a chance if he can get healthy again, but he's going to be out all of September.
Yeah.
Well, not to change the subject, but we were talking about punt receiving earlier. Didn't Vandenberg receive some punts last year?
Yeah, he did. To
He's
me,
got the hand.
He's more of those just catch it and don't fumble it and let's
Yeah,
go again.
yeah.
I'm hoping someday they get someone back there. hey, catch it and try to return it. I mean, Micah Hyde's a great punt returner in the
Oh.
NFL, and at Iowa, all he did was make fair catches. it
Yeah,
seemed like.
exactly.
And that really drove me nuts.
But
last
in
year,
fairness
fair
to
catches.
the coaches, there's a different rule. In college, the moment that ball's punted, you can all fly. It's different in the NFL. There's not, you have to wait. Not everybody can go down at the same time. Kirk's been trying to get that rule changed, and I think he's in the process of getting it changed.
Really?
Kirk's been leading it. Yeah, it's punt returning in college football is pretty difficult.
And it's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It is.
Well, let's talk about freshmen. True freshmen?
Mm-hmm.
Out of the true freshmen you know of, who has the best chance of seeing playing time?
James
this year?
Daniels, without question, he will definitely.
He's an
It's
offensive
not-
lineman?
Yeah, it's not even a matter of will he play; it's will he start.
See a guard or tackle, Pat?
Guard or center? They recruited him as a center.
Center.
My guess is
Oh,
when
he won't
Blythe-
play center as a true
No.
freshman.
Well, they could move Blythe to guard, but my guess is if Daniels shows that he can play guard, he was working with the number one unit at left guard last practice.
Wow.
He will definitely be in the mix. I think at worst he'll be in their 7-man rotation. I think there's one receiver, possibly Germanic Smith, the way he was catching balls Saturday. He looks like he's the most
Germanic.
Yeah, Germanic. Jerminic.
And then Smith.
Where was that on the list of naming your kids?
Yeah, Germanic was not there.
It was not
Now,
there.
how big is he? Is he 6'1"?
6 foot 180. Not just
Okay.
your average size.
Yeah.
Comes from Texas.
from
though.
Texas? Yeah,
Comes
just
from Texas, so he's
say.
played good competition.
Yeah.
I remember when he committed, there was some buzz about him.
But I think definitely those two were the ones who stood out. Daniels, without question. I mean, he will play this year.
And it's his brother
Yeah.
plays.
LaShawn, yeah.
LaShawn.
He's the younger brother of LaShawn, the running back, yes.
Not to be confused with LaShun, right?
LaShawn Daniels. I
Okay.
don't know who LaShawn is.
Didn't we have a LaShun? Okay,
No, it's LaShawn Daniels.
my Alzheimer's is kicking in. So, okay, who else? Who are the other freshmen that we might see?
Well, as far as true freshmen playing,
Is that it?
I can't imagine. Maybe one other receiver between Falconer and Emmanuel Agua. Agua's got great speed. Maybe they can figure out a way to get him involved in the return game. But you don't want any of these freshmen playing in your interior line. If stuff like that's happening.
We had a walk-on freshman starting at linebacker.
Well, then, look what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
And in fairness, he was a redshirt freshman. He wasn't just a true freshman.
Earl?
I was gonna say, what quarterback, say that, first team quarterback goes down, who goes in?
Tyler Wiegers.
Tyler Wiggers is the backup quarterback for now. He's the redshirt freshman from Michigan.
Is that
That's
right?
all we got.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he's from Michigan.
Why's that?
Well, we got one over in Michigan, we got
They
one.
got one of
yeah.
ours, we got one of
Yep,
theirs.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's right.
Earl, do you remember a true freshman starting on the offensive line before?
Mike Jones was the last one.
And how long has that been?
In 2003 or 2003, I believe. He was out of Chicago. He was a big 4 or 5 star recruit.
Did he stay around all?
Yeah, he stayed around. He actually made first team All Big Ten his senior year. We were kind of surprised. We didn't think he had played that well, but he did.
Oh.
But yeah, no, he stayed around. He was a big time recruit.
Mike
he played,
Jones.
He played as a true freshman.
And before him?
I don't remember.
I just don't remember.
It does not happen very often.
No.
It does not happen.
But he's a beast.
He is
How tall is this second team?
6'4",
quarterback?
220 meters. Yeah, he's got good size.
That is good. We talked about the schedule, so it's hard to believe, but guys, the opening
Yeah.
day is right around the corner.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah. It's
Seems like it's taken forever to get here. This has been the longest off season with all the focus on Kirk and what have you. Just
Yeah.
play the games.
yeah.
And there's nothing left to do with Kirk but just play the games.
Illinois State's the first game.
September 5th.
Then we go to Iowa State for the second
Then
game. Is that
Pittsburgh at
correct?
night. Then McCarney comes in.
Yeah, Dan McCarney's coming back to town.
Boy, it's awfully important for this team to start September a little bit better than they have in the past.
They can't be worse than 3-1 going.
If they're worse than 3-1, it's a long season,
Yes.
and that could happen. I mean,
Oh.
these teams are.
I just
Illinois State could bump them
I
off.
dread the thought of them being 0-2.
Oh,
Well,
Oh,
I'll tell
yeah.
you one thing, I'd rather play Northern Iowa than Illinois State, I'll tell you that. I went to that game last.
You'd rather play Northern Iowa?
I think they're weaker than Illinois State.
Well, the
Oh.
polls indicate. I mean, Illinois
Yeah.
State's ranked number 2 and was in the championship game.
Yeah.
So
I
the
mean,
polls
I
would back
really
you up.
think Illinois State's a tough
It's gonna be a tough
Well,
game.
it's a tough game, and they've also got two unique skill players that aren't normally at Illinois State.
Yeah.
Running back ran for 2,200 yards.
What's the
last
quarterback's name?
Trey Roberson. The running back is
yeah.
Marshawn Koprich. He ran for 2,200 yards last year. And
22, that's 2,200 yards rushing
And he's
in
a
one season.
big time talent. So they're going to be tested.
Right out of
But
the
Iowa
gates.
still should win the game in the interior. They should have more depth. They should be able to wear them down. They should not lose to Illinois State at home.
How good is Iowa State this year?
Better. I think they're better, and I think talent-wise, the gap's as narrow as it's been with Iowa for a while. I'd give Iowa State an edge at like receiver. I'd give their receivers are kind of the equivalent of Iowa's defensive backs. I mean, it's going to be
What are they like at quarterback?
Sam Richardson. I mean,
Pretty
he's-
good.
He's not bad. He was hurt last year in that.
Yeah.
Remember, he couldn't scramble. I've got Iowa losing that game. I hope I'm wrong, but just right now, my pick would be Iowa State.
Well, the way we play over there.
Yeah, and they're not bad this year.
Yeah.
The way we play them, period.
Well, they beat us last year and went 2-10, and they beat
I
us.
think they beat us more here than
They've
they
won
do
three out of the
there.
last. They've won 3 out of the last 4 in the series.
Well, against Kirk Ferentz, there's
There's
won 9
9-7.
and lost 7 against us.
Well, they're 10-7 if you throw in Hayden's last loss.
Yeah,
They've won 10 of the last 17 games in the series.
there you go. Yeah.
That's not
Believe that?
good. That's not good. How good is Pitt this year?
Kind of like Iowa, they ride a big power running back, John Connor. They're not bad.
Do they have a new coach?
Yeah.
Yes, Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator from Michigan State.
Oh.
So there's going to be a different look to them. They're going to be physical. I see Pitt as a team that could go anywhere from 6 to 9 victories this year. Kind of like Iowa.
Kind of like Iowa.
Yeah.
So they better.
Yeah.
Iowa needs to play well. That could be a good, very competitive game. The linebackers better be in the mood to tackle because John Connor's a 240-pound tailback.
Is that game a 7 o'clock start or
Yes.
5
I
something?
believe it's
7 o'clock.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
The Iowa State game
It's
is
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay.
I'm not sure if I like that time or not.
That's.
That's,
I thought
You like 5 o'clock starting time?
no, and that's
Oh,
Fox, we have no control of that.
it's 5 o'clock or is it 3 something? I thought it was
I thought it was
3:30.
3 something, but
Usually
it
sit
is-
down to eat something.
but
at
it's
5 o'clock.
on Fox.
Yeah.
I think Pat's right. I think it's 5
Is it?
o'clock.
I think so.
So let's talk about recruiting, football recruiting.
Where are you, Rob?
Yeah.
Well, there's not much going on right now.
The biggest change right now is that the early commitment is the rage.
Yeah, they've got 22. Their class is pretty much full, other than a couple pieces, and those pieces are Farniak, the lineman from, I believe he's from South Dakota, is down to Iowa, Florida State, Michigan State, and one other one. I can't remember who the other one was.
Wow.
And then there's Noah Fant, a tight end, defensive end from Omaha, who's announcing on the 28th. It's Iowa, UCLA, and a couple other schools. They're in on like 5 big-time recruits left to try to fill 3 spots.
They've got 22 verbal
And
commitments.
they're gonna go about 24, 25.
Yeah. But signing day isn't till
Not
when?
until February. So
February.
the next challenge comes keeping these guys.
Right.
You keep them by winning and having success and
Yeah.
cultivating the relationship and whatever, but that's the next challenge. And I'll just go out and say, I think at least 2 or 3 guys decommit.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
some may be their
yeah.
decision, some may be Iowa's decision if they don't play well. A lot can happen.
Do you
It's so
think
fluid.
that the new buildings we got is making a difference?
Oh, I don't think it hurts by any means. I don't think it hurts. I mean, I think it
It's a
helps.
difference maker.
I think it helps. It's not gonna get 4 and 5 stars here. They're not gonna be, there's not gonna be a 4-star, I mean, they gotta do.
Winning
other-
gets 4 and 5
Winning gets
stars.
those guys here. But with some of these guys who are down to maybe Iowa, Indiana, and Illinois, I mean, they're like, wow, look at this thing. Look at the commitment.
Have you been in there, Earl?
No.
I went over there to drop off a DVD of, I forget who we had on the show. Oh, it was Mary Ferentz. And
Oh, yeah.
I was just dropping off the DVD. Wow, it's impressive when
It is
you walk
impressive.
in.
It is impressive.
They've got,
Fans should be
High
proud.
ceilings.
A lot of people went into paying for that. It's a neat facility.
But on those early signing, as far as I'm concerned, it's how we do on our first 5 and 6 games.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's
Without
right.
question.
Yeah,
Yep.
gotta win, baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know anything about, well, I guess we talked about Hawkeye basketball recruiting. You know, what we haven't talked about is outdoor wrestling.
Oh,
November
Yeah.
14th.
I get cold just thinking of it.
same day we play Minnesota, right?
Yeah, the Minnesota game's at 9.
Yeah.
It's a 7 o'clock game. What I don't like about it is that it's the very first dual meet of the season, and it's Okie State. And I think both teams need to get warmed up and work towards that point. We always play Okie State, wrestle Okie
it's
State in
got to get
January.
warmed up if it's cold out.
It's just, I think that's awful early in the season.
It is,
Playing
but I
on
like
the
the
stage.
fact they're trying to do stuff.
Something different.
That's
Something
right.
different.
Yeah.
Wrestling needs
I
help.
agree with you.
I think wrestling needs help.
The sport of
The
wrestling?
sport of wrestling needs help. I'm a fringe fan. I'll watch it if it's entertaining, but too many matches are just two guys standing out there trying not to lose.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Well, it's become that because of scoring and,
Yes.
and the way it's officiated. Some things have to change. I think they've got to change.
Yeah, I think it'll be a mess over there with the football
Oh.
park and.
But it'll be a fun mess, though. I think it's neat. I give them credit for trying stuff.
I think is it 10 or 11 a.m.?
11, I
11
think,
a.m.?
yeah.
Yeah.
So think about that. I mean, how many people you think will really go to that outdoor venue? I mean,
I
The
think
weather's
25
gonna have a,
Yeah.
they're hoping
Right,
25.
yeah,
The
weather-
weather's gonna have it could be
Huge
55.
impact.
I think
Yeah.
it'll be a minimum of 25,000.
Oh, I.
But the weather
I
could be
don't-
55, 60,
Be
or
lucky
maybe
if
20.
you get that, I think.
I think that's kind of what they're hoping for, but
What's the record?
16 something, I think.
That's it?
yeah,
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, this is just, if they get, and it's neat competition, because Penn State could answer with their own Beaver Stadium. Now, I don't know if wrestling's quite as popular to everybody in Pennsylvania as it is in Iowa,
it's big
but it's
out
popular.
there.
They can, no matter what Iowa does numbers-wise, Penn State's gonna always be at the top. They just got more.
Yeah.
And Beaver Stadium holds, I mean, it
Yeah.
holds 30, 40,000 more.
Yeah.
So
I've
we'll see.
never been there, and I've been there a lot, even when they had bad teams. Every time we go, we win
Yeah.
over there. But it's packed.
It is.
It's packed. Scalpers are out there
Yep.
wanting double the
Yeah.
price on tickets.
A
and
lot of
everything.
population out there.
I don't think scalpers are going to have a field day this year at Iowa.
I don't think so.
Not unless we go.
If they're 5-0,
5-0,
if they're 5-0
game.
after Wisconsin, the Scalpers will be having a field day.
Yeah,
Just don't
that's
have that many
right.
big games. at
We'd
home.
like to see
That's
that.
a big if, though.
We got
Yeah.
Illinois and Minnesota at home.
Oh, and you got the yeah, it's not a great home slate.
Purdue's the last game of the year at home. There just aren't a lot of exciting games at home.
The
this year.
Pittsburgh night game is one, I mean, that's one of the marquee things. Hopefully the weather's nice that night.
But that game's not even going to be on. It's not going to be nationwide.
Well, no, I mean, nationwide it's irrelevant, but
I guess it's only going to be.
But when you're
in
nine-
Iowa and
when
Pennsylvania.
you're 19 and 19 over your last 3 seasons, you become
That's what you
irrelevant.
get.
That's kind of what's happened.
That's
Now
what
they
you
have
get.
to play themselves back into being relevant again.
Yeah.
And Clark would be the first one to tell you that.
Last year at Pittsburgh, they didn't have 40,000 people
Yeah,
there.
I remember.
No, you're right. It was not a great crowd.
Yeah.
You know,
Did
Well,
we
here's a-
win or lose that Pittsburgh?
We
we
won.
won it.
CJ
It
came in
was
and
a good
saved
game.
it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was a good
Second
game.
half, yeah.
Well, here's another change. Speaking of night games, we now have November night games, which never happened until
Oh,
this
boy.
year.
Anything for the dollar.
Yep. And it's going to be cold. I just think it's going to be real cold. You never know. It could be 50,
Yeah, it
60,
could
like
be
Pat
warm.
said.
Yeah, but
Remember the Penn State game? That was in November. The 08 game, how cold it was for that?
Yeah.
That was cold. So you just have to hope for the best. And
Yeah.
that's right.
then cope with the rest.
Let's talk about former Hawkeyes in the NFL. I saw Brandon Weir with a game-winning touchdown for the Carolina
Nice
Panthers.
catch. Yeah, he actually did a lot of that on his own.
Speed, strength. He is so much bigger than he used to be.
You
He's a
played a
man.
good game last week with
I mean, he's-
Morris.
Yeah,
Yeah. Paul and I were watching
James.
James for the Patriots.
is gonna make it
He
hard.
started.
he's going to make it
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's going to make it hard for the Patriots to get rid of him.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's
he's-
right, I agree with you.
That's
Good,
I'm
good.
not sure many people expected him to make it, but he's making it hard for them to cut ties with him. That's kind of how I look at it.
And they spoke well of him on
Yes, they
TV
did.
that night.
Yep.
Who else is out there?
Well, Carl Davis had he played almost the entire game for the Ravens his first game. He played a ton. He's out there. Scherf had some publicity for going one-on-one with J.J. Watt in practice.
I read a review of his game from a Washington newspaper, and they raved about him. And they showed breakdowns of his isolated photos of just him and his opponent, and how he stood his guy up, and they raved about it.
Yeah, no, seems to be doing well.
Great.
How has how has Iowa come out by,
With NFL players,
rating the players by darn it, I can't think of the word.
you're talking, but are we talking NFL or
No, talking about,
recruiting?
no, they're already recruited, but how do we rate among the teams?
Where does
in the
Iowa
Big Ten?
rank?
Oh, in the
Our
Big
division.
Ten?
In our division?
Oh, fourth.
Fourth, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, just football.
Yeah.
Where,
That's
And that
where
could-
we being picked.
That could, oh, as far as where I was being.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our division.
Fourth, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it Nebraska, Wisconsin?
Well, yeah, some.
Minnesota after that.
Those are the three top ones, and
Yeah.
Iowa's fourth.
Wisconsin's got a new coach.
I've seen a couple people
Nebraska's
pick
got a new
Minnesota.
coach.
I've seen a couple people pick Minnesota to win.
I've read some things about, Minnesota, and Jerry Kill's got it going on up there.
I think Northwestern's the one that's uncertain. A lot of people, some people think they're gonna have a special season this year. We'll see.
Really?
They've struggled the last 2 years. I mean, he's not, and no pressure over there, but they're coming off back-to-back 5 and 7 seasons. The blow has kind of rubbed off Pat Fitzgerald a little bit.
I hope it.
Well,
They'll never
Pat,
get rid of him.
Not right now, no.
Pat, Minnesota's quarterback, he
Nate Leitner.
take great pleasure in beating Iowa because we didn't recruit him.
Now, Rob says they did offer him. Nate Leitner.
Okay, because he was on the Big Ten Network. Did you see? Or
Yeah.
maybe
Did
it
he
was
say
in
that-
Chicago. And,
Maybe it's one of those where they recruited, offered him, and then backed away from it. You don't know. I don't know.
yeah, he
He
was
wanted
talking
to
about he
come
came
here.
here to a camp and
The
he thought he was
Minnesota
going to get an
quarterback.
offer and didn't. That's how he approached
Is
it.
he from Iowa?
No.
No, I don't
Are
remember.
you talking about Leitner?
Yeah.
And maybe that is, and it may have been one of those where they showed interest in him early, came to the camp, they didn't like what they saw.
He
and
went on
Yeah.
TV that night.
But yeah,
and
that's,
said
that's,
Is that right?
these kids get motivation from all that stuff.
That fixed them for not taking me. I mean, he was upset about it.
Who else from Iowa's senior class last year is still hanging in the NFL?
I'm not sure what's going on with Trinket Passat, I haven't read anything lately.
Oh, yeah.
He was the other one, that's about it that I think like Damon Powell was invited to somebody's camp, and it looks like the incident where he got shot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It looks like it was not as, thankfully, it wasn't real serious. He was able to walk away from that. That was scary. A bullet ricocheted and hit him.
There's been nothing else about that.
No,
that
it
I've
really
read.
hasn't. It's,
Nothing said, like, was it a
I
retaliation
don't know.
thing? He was just standing on a street corner with some buddies.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but yeah, it's,
Who was that?
I can't think of really anyone.
Damon
else.
Powell, the wide receiver, the junior college transfer who graduated last year,
Yeah.
who was never utilized to his full potential.
Boy,
I don't think.
that's for sure.
He got shot.
Back in his hometown,
Back home, yeah.
Was it Cleveland?
Toledo.
Toledo?
Yeah.
Just standing on the street.
The day before he was supposed to leave for
Yeah.
summer camp with what team's he with?
I don't know.
I can't remember what team he's with. I want to say the Arizona Cardinals.
Might be right.
So, but yeah, luckily though, he's going to be okay.
Does it look like he's going to get a shot still?
Well, he'll get a shot, but he's a long shot to make the NFL roster.
Speaking of the Arizona Cardinals, what's the tailback from Northern Iowa? Didn't he stick
David
with them?
Johnson, I saw
David
him. Yes,
Johnson.
he's doing okay.
He'll be tough.
Yeah, I think he'll make that roster. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
He was a monster.
His size, his ability to catch,
Yeah.
he's a good player.
One of the best quarterbacks in Iowa I've seen in a long time.
Running
In the
back.
state of Iowa.
Running back, yeah.
Running
He's
back,
a running
yeah.
back.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, we haven't, it's been a long while since we've had anybody like that. He reminded me of, daggone it, who was the kid who ran over Illinois, back in Hayden's era, running back?
Nick Bell?
Nick Bell.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
who
boy.
he reminded me of. Was
Yeah,
Nick Bell.
yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Tough to bring down. Gee whiz. So, Joe, how we doing on time, buddy? 12 minutes? 21 minutes? 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, then maybe Iowa. then
That's
the
kind of
West
what most
Division.
people are saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
What about the other side? Obviously, Ohio State's just reloading.
Ohio State, Michigan State.
It's going to be interesting to see who
Yeah.
Ohio State's quarterback will be.
Well, I think it's going to be both of those two. I think they're going to give them a rotation type thing. And then Braxton Miller's playing receiver.
Isn't that something?
That's a lot of talent.
Gee, I guess so.
Yeah, I think it's Ohio State's to lose. I think Michigan State's next. Then between Michigan and Penn State.
Did Michigan State drop off a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, they still got most of their line back. They got their quarterback back. They've lost some pieces, but they're on paper, they're by far the second.
They lost their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They did, but they got Shalik Calhoun back and some other really good defenders. They lost a really good defensive back in Trey Waynes, but Michigan State's rolling right now. They've
They
got
are.
things really rolling.
Well, in the last 4 seasons, they've won at least 11 games, and 3 of
And
them.
they won 13 2 years ago. So
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
rolling.
I mean, they've got it going on over
But
there.
Ohio State pounded them last year up in East Lane. Ohio State's just at another level right now.
Yeah.
It's really scary what he's done.
Yeah. And then you got Harbaugh coming into Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll take Maryland before Michigan.
Yeah. Now, Maryland comes here this
If they
year.
come here, yeah, but they're gonna be tough.
Well, we had a 14 zip lead on them in Maryland last year.
Yeah, and some
How'd that
people have
get away?
Maryland picked to finish like last.
Do they?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Because I think Maryland's better on paper than people think.
And what about Rutgers?
Yeah. They're more of the same. I think they're a team. I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers went 4-8 or 8-4. I mean, they're just kind of.
We don't play them, do we?
No.
Okay.
And Penn State?
They're getting better. And
Yeah,
I
they
think,
are.
I think Hackenberg's going to have a better year than he did last year. I've seen a lot of 6. I can see Penn State being 7-5, 8-4.
Yeah.
Big Ten's tough. Everybody talks about the SEC, but
Well, Ohio State's the best team in the country on paper.
I think so.
Hey, how about next year? Is it next season, Pat, that we go to the 9-game rotation in the Big
Yeah,
Ten?
the schedule gets a lot.
2016?
tougher. Schedule gets a lot tougher.
Doesn't Ohio State come back on
Yeah,
the schedule?
yeah, the schedule. Penn State, I believe. Yeah, things get different next year.
Wow.
Go to Rutgers. Yeah, so you got to. This is a very important year for
Yeah,
lots of reasons.
absolutely.
You can say the same with basketball. I mean, I think the 16-17 basketball season on paper looks like it could be precarious. You got to win again this year.
Is the Big Ten schedule going to change in basketball as
No,
well?
I'm just saying,
in
though,
the
on
year?
paper, though, they're going to be gutted next year's team.
Yeah.
You lose Utah, if you lose Clemens, you lose Gazelle, you lose Woodbury.
Woodbury, I think, is going to be.
That's
It's going
a-
to change everything.
That's a lot to lose in 1 year,
Yeah.
and we'll see if they've recruited to fill that. That's why it's important for the basketball team to capitalize on this year.
What do you think about our new recruits coming in? Who's going to help the basketball team this year?
I think Fleming can shoot. I think he'll help with some perimeter shooting. I don't think he's going to be much of a defender or ball handler, but if he can make stationary jump shots and perimeter shots in transition, that'll help. I think 1 or 2 other ones has to at least help him. Hutton or Moss or Wagner has to help him with athleticism on defense. I think that's the other thing. I don't think they're going to really need these freshmen to score, other than the guys who can shoot.
Is Moss the one that they were having some academic?
Yeah, he's going to be here on, I think he said he'll be here on the 24th.
So he is going to.
But he has
Yes.
qualified.
He has
Oh,
qualified.
he has qualified.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
He's about a 6'5", small forward, shooting guard, wing type player.
Speaking of recruiting, the Hawkeye baseball team picked up an outstanding late recruit, a kid named Sammy Lizarraga from Cedar Rapids, went to Kennedy. And the kid is 6'6", 220 pounds, a pitcher who throws 94 mile an hour in high school. He was, let's see here, I've got some stats on him. He's a 2-time All-State Super Team member. That's a new thing in the state of Iowa. They've got these super teams. I think that's a combination of all classes.
Okay.
Kind of like what the elite is in football. They do
Yeah.
the elite thing.
Yeah. During his final prep season, he went 8-0. His earned run average was 0.7.
Ooh.
Amazing. He struck out 72 batters over 50 innings, and he allowed just 28 hits in 50 innings. He issued 9 walks, held hitters to a 159 batting average, and in the state tournament, he struck out 14 batters from Davenport North in the game they had in the state tournament. He's a real find. He's a late. Part of it is because of the current Hawkeye players who went pro, and they also had I forget the kid's name, but a high school senior who committed and then got drafted.
Chris Comito.
There you go.
Out of
That's who it
Out
was.
of Norwalk.
Yeah,
So that's why it was a late commit.
right. We had Coach Heller on earlier this summer, and he explained about Comito to us, and he just found out about Comito. And so Lizarraga hung around. I forget who was. Somebody.
Who his coach was, don't you?
He was committed to somewhere, and I want to say Kentucky. No, who was his coach?
Hoyer.
Hoyer
Oh,
from
really?
Regina.
Brett Hoyer?
Been
Yeah.
up there for 12 years and had winning records every year.
Well, this kid's going to be a difference maker for this Hawkeye baseball
think
team
so.
right out of the chutes. They have the number 1 recruiting class in the Big Ten, and I forget what, it's like 14th in the nation, one of the top recruiting
Okay,
classes in the
okay.
nation. And they had a great recruiting class a year ago.
Wasn't it number 1 in the Big Ten last
Yes.
year, too? So
Yes.
it's back to back.
Yep. So this kid just rounds things out. Sammy Lizarraga.
That was a good interview with that man.
Rick Heller. Yep.
Yep, doing a good job.
We were very fortunate to have him come on board. He's
Nice guy,
yeah.
good coach.
Yeah, you've
Oh,
done
yeah,
a lot. You
I
spent a
mean-
lot of time with
I
him.
mean, we're actually graduated high school, not together, same year though. I mean, so we're from the same generation, but it's amazing what he's done. Doesn't he remind you of, look like a young Al Bundy?
I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I could see that.
First time I saw him, that's the first thing I thought of, a young Ed O'Neill. But just, I mean, it's just amazing what he's done with that
Where did he
program.
go to school at?
He went to Upper Iowa.
No, but then,
He's from
Southeast
southeast Iowa, not, was it somewhere near Centerville, I
It's,
believe.
wasn't it down there by where Roseanne and
Ottumwa, yeah.
Ottumwa,
and then he
it's down that
But
way.
then he went to Upper Iowa, and then he coached at Upper
Yeah.
Iowa, then he went from Upper Iowa to Northern Iowa, Indiana State, Indiana State.
So how old is Rick Heller,
He's
50s?
50, 51, yeah, right around
Okay.
there. yeah. So he's right in the prime of his career. I mean, Iowa's got him right. But he's also, if this keeps happening, he's young enough to where other schools will maybe make a run for him. If they have another great year next year at 51 years old, I mean, a lot of these Sun Belt schools may come after him, so.
but he's an Iowa guy, and this
He
is
is.
where he
This is
always
where he
wanted
wants
to
to
be.
be.
That's what I'm
He wanted to
saying.
be.
He wanted that job when,
before he applied.
and then
to
he took
Florida.
Northern Iowa, and
And
then
it's
he
a
wanted
nice
the job,
job.
and they didn't hire him, and he took Indiana State job.
It's a nice job too, and that season gets
Yeah.
done early enough to where you can go and enjoy nice weather in other parts of the country.
Well, and there are gonna be a lot of changes over there
Yeah.
too. They've already fixed up the turf and the scoreboard. There's talk of really expanding the.
What I'm saying
center.
though is if he keeps winning though, it's business.
Yeah,
They'll have
But
to,
the stadium is beautiful.
yeah.
yeah, they've done a nice job.
And now there's talk of tearing down the rec center and building a new student athlete dorm.
You're probably old enough to remember when the rec center was like new,
Oh, yeah.
67? Is that what year did it?
I don't know.
Oh,
Earl, you remember
probably
what
in there
year that rec
somewhere.
center
Yeah.
was built?
No.
No?
I hope they wait and get rid of some of these other buildings and streets that are closed here. It's terrible.
I'm
Is
going-
that where they're thinking about putting the new athletic dorm, right?
Yeah,
there
They
in the
like
rec
the
center?
bubble, yeah, where the bubble and all that area right there. That's really the only area left.
Yeah, and
Everything
then
else
there's,
is either clinic or hospital.
here's what I'm trying to figure out. They just announced a commitment to fix up the north end zone where I
Yeah.
sit. And I don't know how they're gonna do that because they have to keep Evashevsky Drive open. I mean, that's the bus terminal
They'll
street
do
now.
it.
We'll figure
How are they
something
gonna
out.
do that?
I don't know.
They wanna add luxury suites and there's nothing luxurious about the north end
Well,
zone.
that's where you'll be sitting then.
Not those little suites. I would never sit up there. No way.
35
Never,
to 45
never.
million estimated budget. I'd like to have that kind of a budget. Well, there's 10 million
Think
that's
what
just
you
kind
could
of
do with
floating
that.
in there. You know, and the Board of Regents approved it.
That's what I didn't think they would.
I didn't either.
Well, nothing stands still anymore when it comes to big college athletics.
Wow.
And nothing stands still in how
Well, the
sports
TV,
is
the
reported.
$33 million for each team.
Yeah, and that's just gonna get more,
Bigger,
bigger and bigger.
Those eastern teams are gonna really bring it in.
Yeah.
We've been visiting with Pat Harty from allhawkeyes.com. Pat, we're just really appreciative of you being here.
My pleasure.
Things are really gonna kick off for you real shortly.
We get a lot busier here.
When are the news conferences for
We have
Hawkeye
actually
football?
something next Monday. We have
Okay.
they make some players available. They're doing a lot better job of making players available
Great.
too.
Good.
And then Kirk's first press conference is the Tuesday before the opener.
Well, good luck to you and Rob
Thank you.
Howe at
Thanks.
allhawkeyes.com. Good luck to the Hawkeyes. We appreciate you tuning in every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. or on Sundays at 6 p.m. on Channel 18. If you can't tune in then, you can always go to patv.tv. They've got all of our programs logged in there, or you can go to my Facebook page, and I've got them there as well. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. On behalf of Bob and Bud and Earl and Pat Harty, I'm Dirk Keller, thanking you for watching. And remember this, either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks.
Amen.
Thank you.